test, 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 test. Testing this shit. Testing. 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 My shit. Testing. Testing. My shit. Testing. Testing. Testing this shit. Alright, I should be on. The music shouldn't be too loud. I'm gonna check on my phone if the volume is fine. But we should be alright. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Alright, that's good. That's good, baby. There we go. I have a bunch of music in the playlist that I think I can play on YouTube. It's just a bunch. Oh. I'm just gonna get like. It's a lot of Half-Life music. It's just like a bunch of video game music that I think I can play. Because all the other music I probably cannot play on here. Dude, whatever, sure. Alright. So, I got a bunch of work on me today. Over this a little bit so I can concentrate better. Alright. I gotta go get my notebook. I have. We got a pencil. I gotta note down the stuff I gotta do because else I'm gonna lose my. I'm gonna get confused. Alright. So, alright. We need to work on the generator on a very basic level. We need it to work. We have to work on the interface, I think, first. Because it has to be separate from the Clang stuff, and then we need to make the dispatch, which is the generator tool that can then use the generators, and after that we have to make the generators that we need. So I think we should be good starting with this, and we can just call it Modgen because it's the only one that's gonna export something. So what we need is module. Who's the module generate? No, subpartition generator. Alright. Oops. Alright. I have to reload it. Oh. Buffer close. Oh, that's it. I have to build it right. It's a build step thing. Alright. I don't know. Namespace mr modgen. And so first thing we're gonna need here, the generator class, and it will need to bind to a bunch of stuff. So first thing we should actually do is we do have to link this to um, Clang. So we do have Clang. So what was it? I have to look at my dispatch. Really forgot. I'm not linking correctly here anymore. Yeah. Whatever. Link. Okay, so what was it? I need a Clang AST, Clang Basic, Clang Frontend. Are the ones I need, and I also need to target include directories and arrows.component.modugen.dispatch private I guess we could make it through the interface that the Clang stuff gets updated. So actually what we can do is we do not link these guys here, we just link metarows.component.modugen.interface, and then in the interface we why did you copy them to separate things? Alright, so we link these. Does add component have link public? I don't remember. Component. We do have link public. Link public should work. Did I implement link public? Args link public. Yeah, right. Alright. So these are gonna be under link public. And we're also gonna do target include directories, and then rows.component.modugen.interface, and this is gonna be public. It's gonna be LLVM dir and Clang dir, I think. I'm gonna have to check my passcode on this because I forgot what the include was. I'll go back to here. No, actually the one before. Yeah. So when we add statsys, LLVM include there, correct? There is. Alright. So that should do it. We're building fine. And now our generator should have access to it. So okay, internally what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a quick binding here, and we're gonna do export module bind reload it, there it is. And we can very simply put namespace Clang, and we can export a bunch of Clang stuff. And this will have all our like Clang things that we need, just so like in the future I don't have to include all those damn things. Okay, so include Clang slash here we're gonna need like decals. What the hell do decals mean? I mean, it's gonna be basic, no? Doesn't seem like so. It's front end or something. I'm just gonna import one thing, and I'm gonna see if it auto completes it for me. So I do want like record decal, CXX record decal. So CXX record decal. So we will do using. Alright, I have to do Clang. If I were to just like not export it under the namespace, I can just export it. Yeah, I can just export it as is. It might be. It's clear if I put it under Clang, just so people later on know that these are like Clang related, and then like in case you can do like using namespace Clang. So we care about this for now. So if I build this, takes a little bit. In the generator, we can then import Clang bind. There it is. And we should also import generator and export. Pem pem pam pedam parabum pum pum pem pum param pere poop te pe poop pa pedu pa pum pedu pa pum. So now we should be able to okay, so generator, it's gonna need to be polymorphic, because you have to pretty much define everything about it. So in public, oops, I'm going to do the virtual deconstructor. And equals default. Alright, so now this is going to be polymorphic. And we want to define a bunch of functions that we can take in. So, okay, first thing, I'm gonna need it, give it some a protected constructor. So in private, and I also need to import std. Right. Private, we're going to give it std string name. We're gonna keep a name of the generator for now, and then we're just gonna have a protected constructor. reference name, and it's just gonna set. Right. So now, for now, we want to be able to handle declarations and build the final project. So we know that we need a virtual std string handle decal record, and this would pass in I think pointer in this case. Yeah, so it would be a clang cxx record decal pointer this would equal to 0, so we know that we have to implement it. Actually, it shouldn't be, because a generator could also just not handle a specific thing. So we can just set it to return nothing, and if the string is just empty, we just we skip the like we don't save the record handling thing. So then I need to plan this out, because maybe it will make more sense to use what's the difference with the two? Oh, okay, so record decal is like if we go to record decal, it is it's a specialization on record decal. I guess it handles most. Well, okay, it's fine. We're fine with this one. Then we also need a virtual build, and this one has to be defined. But it builds like the final module. So virtual std string still. build, and what build will do is that we will need to pass in some sort of like I guess like how could you like we need to pass a context of all your handled files. So what I guess we would do is, since this we like the handled files, we will go through like our file structure of like handled files and I guess handled records, and then we would we'll put them under there as like available records in like a generator context or something, which is just like it's a bunch of lists, bunch of vectors that have all the files that we have generated. So for okay, so here's the idea. I'm gonna put it here so it's like I can explain it better. So like the idea is that we have this, which is the module interface. I'm just gonna say like int interface, and now these should expose two important bits. It exposes like the interface exposes information for how to create a generator. So it exposes gen. So now what happens is our dispatcher, so we're gonna call it this, and any amount of generators that we have, so generator libraries, both link against this, and this one consumes the generator and this one returns a generator. Now here's the thing, the generator, the way it's gonna work in code, I would like it to have I would like to kind of have it mildly opinionated so stuff remains consistent. And a generator should only be able to act with things with a certain attribute, which will be like, the attribute will be defined like this as a macro. So like define, for example, we say store for stuff that we want to generate, so we can serialize to be stored onto files and then loaded back. And this would just translate onto a C++ attribute. And it'll be like mr meta rows and then store. Or I think it would just be, actually Clang does have an does Clang have an annotate attribute? Annotate attribute. I think it does. Another annotate. Oh, annotate type. Annotate. Annotate. No documentation. I mean, that seems to be what we want. Oh, and we can see it right now as it would be Clang annotate, and then we would give it like mr like modgen and then dot something like modgen dot store, and dot store would have to be like our generator says, hey, I want to enact on store attributes. So this means that when the dispatch gets it back from initialization, when it inits it generates a macro that just does this, and gets given these macros then are gonna be given to like a list of macros that, or I think, no, we have to build one macro because I've been having issues including multiple macros. So yeah, they will add it to be like a CMake list of all the modgen macros, and then they get just force included into every module. So right here we would have something like that, and if I just like not export this right now so we can do a little test, we can see that like if I do that class store, like class sum, open it, and we do store int underscore I. And then we close it. And then we do, I need to go to ModuGen, and then where the interface, yeah, right here. So then if I do clang check ast dump and then interface.cppm, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. So in Melrose origin generator, don't seem like it's, maybe it's because it's a CPPM and it doesn't want to parse it correctly. Import tackle. Did I save the file? I did save the file. So import tackle. Melrose ModuGen generator. Wait. Did it see my... Why? Yeah, now it's confusing me. What the hell? So, import tackle. Why? Why? It's being weird. It's actually being kind of weird. What if I just change it to CPP for a second, and then ModuGen interface here, clang check ast dump. No. Type tackle. You built it, imported. Where's the... Oh. Where's the... It's because I don't have a main in here. Well, if I give it a main, maybe it's gonna stop complaining. No. Why? This is so stupid. What? Okay, I'm gonna do this outside of the project. I think it's getting confused by the build structure. So I am gonna like remove this stuff from here. I'm just gonna make a quick open my temp folder, open nmim, and then make a class sum store int and then we can do dump AST. Oh, it's AST dump. Hey, make it grammatically less. There it is. There we go. So some. There we go. Annotate modugen.store. Right there. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, like a generator is gonna have to define its given like attribute that it will work under, and then the generator will make all the macros that define them, and then like you can have different generators working under the same thing. Yeah, and that's the idea. And then we would have like, the idea for now is that I need store and what else? Reg, which means that an object goes onto the registry. I guess we should make it expose. Yeah, and that means that the object goes into the global object registry. And then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, inspect, which is going to be for stuff that we should be able to inspect. So you know, like store inspect int I, and we can give it like, we could also like for example, we could make attributes that can have more stuff added onto them. So for example, we could have like nice name, you know, which takes in something, and then this would go in here. Or we can have just a custom attribute. We could also just make a custom attribute that then formats it, but we could do like modugen.name equals to, and then we like would insert the name here. So like, you know, nice name, and then this will be called like global counter or something. And we can have like another one that's like tooltip. And then we could have like a tooltip. So tooltip ups when I kiss your mom. Something like that. And then you could have like this kind of syntax. This would have expose. And this will be tooltip, and if we then redo the clang check, you can see we have all our annotations on our end. Yeah. I might maybe make a custom attribute. I know how to do that, just so maybe I can handle the arguments more nicely. Like if, for example, you say that like right now we only need to annotate so we can know when we do the code gen which one is what. Oh, boom, 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 ba da do do, ba da do da do da do, boom. Anyhow, wait, let me up the volume a little bit here. There we go. Anyhow, I might want a nicer way to handle the arguments, that instead of like if we pass like an argument, instead of like annotating it and then getting it back, which is a bit silly, we can save it somewhere. Because I think like there is an example of how to make like a custom attribute on here. I think should be like under Clang examples attribute. There it is. So this example attribute info, so can take up to 15 positional arguments, optional arguments, to emulate accepting a variadic number of arguments. Alright. Static constant expression, the spellings, and then we give it the spellings. And then we can say if it appertains, and then we can handle it. So what it does here is check if the declaration is at file scope. Attributes only allowed at file scope. Sure, only accept and most 3 arguments. The first argument must be a string literal if it exists. So get number of arguments, unsigned ID. Example attribute only accept most of 3 arguments. And then if there are arguments, the first argument should be a string literal. So if there's more than 1 argument, we get argument as expression, string literal, dynamic cast string literal. Arg0 ignore parent cast. Alright, that's arg0 would be our argument. And then if it's not a literal, so like if we don't get it back from the dynamic cast, we give the thing that it should be a literal. So I could just make it take literal, and then like after that get argument as expression. So we're getting them as expressions, and then later on we can check what types they are. And then appertains to statement, we would just say no here. And no statement attribute. So let's do the call super attribute. What is this? To mark a virtual method as called super, some classes must call it in the overridden method. Oh, what is it doing here? Cache methods were marked as called super. Not touch an attribute st node to the declaration as ast node. Instead, it keeps a separate list of attribution which may be faster than using get attribute. In some cases, the disadvantage of this approach is that the attribute is not part of the st, which means that dumping the st will lose the attribute information. Pre-printing the st won't write the attribute back to source. Be able to match against the attribute in the declaration. So these are recursive STVs. The recursive ST consumer, plugin AST action, and then That is the attribute info. So I guess it's making this is like, is that just diagnosis? Like, if you have that on, it just checks that few plugins do some of the same things which Java notations do. So call super visitor, owning super not called. This is call super and this is method usage visitor. It's kind of over my head. Visit CXX method decal. Declaration definition. Small pointer set. Overridden marked methods. As it's doing some diag. Print function names. Attribute. Annotate functions. Very function in translation units that start with the pragma enable annotate. Okay, we don't really care about this. I don't have to go crazy. What I care about is doing like a simple attribute. Guess like what we would want is some kind of like attribute like this. That's maybe like mr module set, and then we would, like what we could do is we have just one attribute that does it, but we're gonna have it through macros, and have it be the first argument would be just like the name. So like for example store, and this, the first thing just gets put in as an annotation, so later on we can see it. And then after that we can give it more stuff, and then when we give a generator an attribute that it has to work on, we can say, hey, here's the arguments I expect from it, and then the rest of the arguments get given here. So arg1, arg2, you know, etc. I put there, and that means that we can, like when we say a generator, we say, hey, here's what I expect, and we just have like this module gen set attribute that works from our generators. So I guess what happens is that since we launch a dispatcher that runs every generator for a file at once, what should happen is that like every time we run the generator, we init the generator. So first thing we do is init it to get the attribute information from it. Then with the attribute information, we parse the file with us, like our module set attribute. And the module set attribute just takes in like a name and then a list of expected argument types. And then we go over the file, we check if there are any module set like attributes, and then if there are Modigen set attributes, we get the first argument. If it doesn't match with any of the names from our generators, then, you know, tough luck. If it does match, then we run the generator that attribute is linked to with that declaration, and should all be good, and then we can have some utility to function like parse data stuff. I think that would be good. So what we have to do is we also have to, I mean, this would be in the dispatcher, that this generator would be the generator just returns some kind of like standardized, no, I don't want to say this, standardized generator information. So the attribute in the interface in this case would be like our attribute info. So this is very detached here. It would then like be concreted in the dispatcher. So export, oops. Oh, mama. Export namespace mr Modigen oh hell yeah. And then in this case the attribute thing can just be a struct. Attribute info, and oops, oh my god. I'm really losing my marbles here. It would be std string, so pum pum pa da dum pum pa na na na. And this would be the name. Oh, mama mia. Ooh. This will be the attribute name, and for now we can just leave the name, I guess. Or I guess like it would then take a vector of like a, let's say like enums that do the whole argument parsing thing, but right now you don't need it, so it will be some other time. And attribute info. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the fluent style here. Init option attribute info name, and the value would be Oh, right. Oops. Alright, I have to think this through. Um, check on Discord. I didn't want to not disturb. Oh, 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 oops. Uh, alright, yeah, alright. Mama. I think that's enough. I think that's I I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I am bye forever. Oh my god. Oh Jesus.